Hey, welcome to EPM. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest on everything cool every single day. I'm at EA Redwood Shores, still checking out Star Wars Battlefront 2, and I'll have a review for you very soon. Wanted to give you a very special shout-out and a thank you, Tyler Hodgkinson. You are a terrific supporter of EPN, and we are very grateful. That's why we made you this rundown. It looks like Nintendo might be retelling another Legend of Zelda. Following the 3DS remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, a new remake of another one of the classic games may be on the way. Japanese game development studio Grezzo, which handled the 3DS remakes of Ocarina and Majora, has posted a job listing on their official site for programmers to help them create a new legend together. They haven't said what that legend might be, but the artwork looks like they're teasing a new Legend of Zelda remake. Grezzo has also made entirely new Zelda games like 2015's Triforce Heroes, so they could be working on another one of those. We'll just have to wait and see. Whatever the next Zelda game might be, it will be very difficult to live up to the standards set by the latest game, Breath of the Wild. That revolutionized the franchise by giving players more freedom than ever before and is arguably the best game in the series. There's no doubt that its design will have a huge influence on future games for decades to come. Speaking of Breath of the Wild, the game is getting a breath of another big Switch exclusive. Starting on Thursday, players will be able to download a new mission and costume inspired by the upcoming game, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and best of all, the content is free for all players. Nintendo is doing this to promote the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which hits the Switch worldwide on December 1st. It will come with its own season pass of content, similar to what Nintendo is doing with Breath of the Wild, so expect new updates for that well into the next year. The next big paid expansion for Breath of the Wild, known as the Champion's Ballad, arrives later next month. After buying up Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm, Disney might be interested in gobbling up an even bigger studio. Rumors have surfaced that Disney has held talks to buy 20th Century Fox. The rumors, first reported by CNBC, claim that Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox parent company 21st Century Fox, held preliminary talks with Disney about selling most, but not all, of the company to them. There are conflicting reports about how likely the deal really is or if the talks are even still happening, but here's what would potentially happen if Disney really were to buy Fox. First up, the most obvious winner would be Marvel. The acquisition would mean that the Marvel properties currently owned by Fox, namely X-Men and Fantastic Four, would come back under the same roof, allowing Marvel to use them in their shared cinematic universe. That means you would see X-Men and the Fantastic Four join forces with the Avengers for the first time. Another result of the acquisition is that it would clean things up with the Star Wars films. All the movies made between The Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith are currently co-distributed by both Fox and Disney, while the very first film is still solely distributed by Fox, and the recent ones are only distributed by Disney. If Disney really does buy Fox, it would consolidate the rights to all the films, which makes things a lot less confusing. It would also potentially mean that future Star Wars films could once again use the iconic 20th Century Fox fanfare before the opening crawl if Disney wanted to do that. Another result of the acquisition would be that Disney and its legendary animation department would own the rights to all the Fox animated franchises, including The Simpsons. Keep in mind that this acquisition deal may never actually happen, but the fact that Disney was at least interested in buying Fox shows that the company wants to wield even more power over the entertainment industry than it already does. We'll let you know what happens. The Justice League movie isn't the only big DC slugfest coming out next week. NetherRealm Studios has announced that the PC version of the DC fighting game Injustice 2 will finally arrive on Tuesday, November 14th. That's the same day the new fighter Hellboy will be joining the roster on all platforms, so the PC version will launch with him as well as the other DLC characters. If you want to try out the PC version right now, an open beta test is currently taking place on Steam and will end this Friday. We loved Injustice 2 on the PS4 and Xbox One, so we can't wait to see how it looks on the PC. It'll be released just a few days before the new DC movie Justice League hits theaters, and we've got our fingers crossed that that film will be just as good.
Shall we?
One of Marvel's biggest icons is heading over to their biggest rival. Brian Michael Bendis, the writer who's worked on countless Marvel comics like Ultimate Spider-Man and created characters like Miles Morales and Jessica Jones, is leaving Marvel to join DC Comics. He's inked a multi-year deal with DC to work exclusively with them, which means that anything he writes and any characters he creates will be published and owned by DC. In a statement, Brian Michael Bendis says that change is good and healthy, and he's bursting with ideas and inspiration. This is a big win for DC and a big loss for Marvel. Brian Michael Bendis is enormously talented and helped breathe new life into established Marvel characters, so we can't wait to see what he does with the DC library. They haven't said what books he'll be working on first or how long the exclusive arrangement will last. Microsoft wants to give everyone another reason to get high-speed internet. With the new 4K Xbox One X hitting stores today, Microsoft says that they're working on their own game streaming service that might do away with consoles altogether. Xbox head Phil Spencer revealed the news to Bloomberg Magazine, saying that the unnamed streaming service will not require a console for certain types of games. He didn't really elaborate on this, but it sounds like this means you'd be able to stream Xbox games directly to a PC, tablet, or smart TV without having an actual Xbox machine. This would make Microsoft's streaming service a lot more far-reaching than the PS4-specific PlayStation Now and open up the Xbox library to a lot more people.
Understood, Commander.
It would also be in keeping with Microsoft's plan to use the Xbox platform across all of their hardware and software, which is why they've already started making it possible to play most Xbox One games on the PC. A streaming service would go one step further, meaning players wouldn't even need to have a powerful PC to run the games. Before you get too excited, Phil Spencer says that the streaming service is still at least a few years away, so don't get rid of your consoles just yet. The legendarily awful B-movie The Room is about to get torn apart like never before. With a new James Franco movie, The Disaster Artist, about to hit theaters, audiences will soon be able to get another look at the goings-on behind the scenes of the real Room movie.
Oh, hi, Mark.
The documentary film Room Full of Spoons is finally going to get an official release after being held up in the courts for almost a year. The documentary, created by Canadian filmmaker Rick Harper, interviews the actors from the original movie to provide a first-hand account of what went down behind the scenes.
I cannot tell you, it's confidential.
But unfortunately, the Room writer and director Tommy Wiseau sought an injunction to prevent the documentary from being released.
I did not.
A judge has now lifted the injunction, and the filmmakers plan to release the documentary as soon as possible.
What a story, Mark.
It likely won't be out before Franco's movie The Disaster Artist, which provides a fictionalized account of the Room's production. That arrives before the end of the year, and we'll let you know when Room Full of Spoons gets a release date.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
That wraps us up for the rundown today. Thank you so much for watching. You know, we've got tons of other cool content for you to check out on the channel. Please do that, and if you dig it, hit subscribe, that little bell, and if you're so inclined, that sponsorship button too.